Welcome to Gen 365 podcast. This is an initiative of Beyond the Veil Mission. And this is a podcast for the community to empower a generation of healing and hope 365 days of the year. Before we begin, I want to remind you the meaning of humanity or Ubuntu. I am because you are. I am because we are. Therefore, to create a safe and brave space for all of us, we must remember that my healing is as good as my community healing. This is a podcast for everyone who loves the community. If you are listening to this new episode, I want you to remember that we see you and you matter. Welcome. Welcome again, Gen 365 family. This podcast is going to be one of the amazing podcasts. Again, Happy New Year. We are close to the end of the month of January, and today I have a special guest with me, Raissa. If you hear us laughing so hard, don't be surprised, because we always have a good time. You know, like Raissa is going to get the time to introduce herself, tell us, her work, her contribution to the community. Before we begin, I just want to take this time to tell anyone who's listening to this podcast that this one might be a very sensitive podcast because we're going to be discussing about emotions. Mm-hmm. Today's topic is about, a language you should learn this year. Some of us, especially, are bilingual. We speak Rwanda, we speak English, French, so many things. We have many talent and gifts. But more we talk to people, we just realize that many people struggle or are challenged to know how to manage their emotions. Even when we see many reasons why we actually go seek mental health support, it's because we struggle to be in control of our emotions. So we thought about starting this podcast with just some guided meditation. The reason why is just so you can be relaxed as you listen to this podcast. The guided meditation we're going to use today is called Earth or Feet Grounding Guided Meditation. This meditation, I love it so much, especially when it's summertime, it's sunny outside. When you're walking through the nature, it's so beautiful to use it. This is one of my favorite. There are so many out there. And in this conversation, you're going to realize, you're going to discover that it's always what works for you. I can share this one because it works for me, but there are different types that can help you to really come back to yourself, relax, and all of that. So, just a brief helping you having a bit understanding of, what is a guided meditation? It's to help you to reset your mind and attain a state of consciousness that is completely different. For example, during the meditation, your mind is not focused on the external world or events that are taking place around you. So the mind will become clear, the mind will become relaxed and inwardly focused. So with this particular earth or feet grounding meditation, we can encourage, if it's possible, to walk on grass barefoot. If, especially for Raissa, who live in a beautiful Vancouver with no snow, lucky you. But, summertime, if not, walk on grass barefoot, maybe in your house, you can just, work in your house and feel the earth under your feet. That's the purpose of this, earth grounding guided meditation. And during this meditation, you can either walk on grass, dirt, or wet sand. So you can focus, the idea is to focus on the sensation of the earth beneath you. Even if you're sitting down, as we do this guided meditation, I want you to focus on the sensation of the earth beneath you. So let's go together. Before we start the conversation, it's going to take a minute or two. And you can practice this at home. Even when you go on YouTube, there are so many of them. There are different apps that have guided meditation. But today, me and Raissa, We can do this together. First of all, hi, Raissa.
Hi, Lydia. I'm walking as you're speaking.
Oh, okay.
Very
Oh,
good.
that's beautiful. I like that. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's begin. So, when you're ready,
I am.
I want you
I
to
am.
relax. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to relax your shoulders and just try to sit comfortably in your chair.
Okay.
Then try to close your eyes or keep them open, whatever that is comfortable for you.
I'll close them.
I invite you to feel the sensation of the ground on your feet and the sensation on your shoes, of your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Notice your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Then normally breathe in and out. And this will help to calm your mind and relax your body. You are not trying to change your breath. Just notice it. Continue to observe your breath as we do this breathing exercise. Focus on your breathing. When you're ready, breathe in through your nose. Slowly and deeply. Exhale and feel your stomach relax. Let's try one more time. Breathe into your nose. Slowly and deeply. Exhale and feel your stomach relax. Continue to focus on breathing this way for a couple of minutes until you feel effortless. Let's go 3 times together. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice if you have fallen into any distractions and return your awareness to your breathing. Welcome back to yourself. Hey girl.
Hi. Wow.
How do you feel?
Yeah, that feels good.
I know,
It's
I know.
relaxing. It's calm. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just the idea actually of breathing normally, because I feel like every single day we're just rushing.
Yeah.
Even when we sit down breathing, it feels like, oh my goodness, I might be lazy. I'm not doing anything. And it can take just a couple of 2 to 3 minutes. You can lay down, you can be walking, you can be sitting down. just breathing in naturally, like, in and out. Like, when you breathe in, make sure you're holding the breath, inside your stomach, and you can see your stomach pushed backward. And then when you breathe out, you can see, your stomach expanding. So that's when you're going to know that you're doing it the right way. And it's, sending the oxygen to your brain, calming your nerve. It's really beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. This
Okay,
was my
girl.
first time.
Are
Thank
you
you for
sure?
introducing me to meditation. Yeah. I always thought it's gonna make me feel asleep, but no, it just makes you relaxed and yeah.
You know what? Some of them can actually make you sleepy. And there's this one, I will share with you that one. It's like a 10 minutes from the Calm. There's this app called Calm. It has like many meditations, guided meditation. It's my favorite. I've been using it maybe 4 or 5 years. Not every day, once in a while, but I'm telling you that one can make you really. I usually use it when if I'm too tired, stressed, I can use it when I'm about to sleep. But in daytime, you just feel so calm because that one really walk you through every part of your body from the head, forehead, your neck, everywhere, like, your body. You see how it sit all the time, and you can feel like, your body is hurting. So it helps you to relax that area as well. So it's, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, girl. So welcome to Gen 365, Raissa.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
First of all, you're going to tell us about yourself, who you are in your professional settings and outside of your work. Who is Raissa?
Okay, I'll start by who I am. Because I believe that who I am is different than who I am professionally.
Yes.
I've been learning to introduce myself outside of what I do for a living. So it's usually a hard question because there is who people think I am, who I want to be, and who I really am. But if I put all of them together, I'll say that I am a loving person, I am kind, and I am creative. I have a way with words. I have a passion for people, and I have a mind full of ideas. That's how I would describe myself. Professionally, I am an events and an engagement coordinator for the Regulatory College of Oral Health. Okay. Yes. So professionally, I'm the events manager and engagement for the Regulatory College of Oral Health Professionals. That's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Raissa. I am so happy to have you today. Yes, Raissa, we're going to have this beautiful conversation together because I thought even your own podcast, you really, have a podcast that discuss about, mental health, and I want you to talk about it. And I thought you were the right person to have this conversation with. Even in our day-to-day conversation, we always often talk about, the idea of emotions, feelings, and all of that. Your podcast as well. Can you share a little bit about that and your cards? Because those are two things as well that can benefit our listeners. Yes.
First of all, I am honored to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak about this. Yes, as Lydia said, I have a podcast. It's about emotional health, and it's called Flourish with Ray Love. You can find it on any podcast streaming app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that. And it's actually from my podcast and the conversation I've had that inspired me to create. It's a deck of cards that ask questions. And the aim for those cards is for people to have meaningful conversations, because as technology goes, we live in a disconnected world, and I wanted to find a way to make people be connected, and also to make people be open and vulnerable and connect, because most of the time we all go through the same thing, just differently. So cards, you can find them on my website. We'll talk about that later in the details. But
Okay, so Raissa, thank you so much. I love really her cards creations. I've purchased myself a couple of them, and sometimes play them with my boys. Really, one of the things I shared with her, there are things that my boys in real life won't able to share with me right away. But when we play these beautiful cards, for some reason, oh my goodness, it's like, white and black. They just share.
That was
about
one
anything.
of the best.
Yes,
That was
yes.
one of the best feedbacks I got from you.
Yes, so you can really find her page, Play to Flourish, and practice, or the website as well. We're gonna share that on our page actually, so don't worry about it. You can be able to connect with her and purchase your cards for yourself or friends. Anyhow, to continue with the second question, I want us to discuss, before we tap into emotions, I want to ask you a random question from your Flourish.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay?
Yes.
I wasn't prepared for this question. I'm just going to pick up one card and ask you the question, and you can do the same.
Okay.
Okay, girl, are you ready?
I am ready. Always ready.
Okay, so this is a question I picked from level 1, from Play to Flourish.
Okay.
So the question goes like this. What question are you trying to answer most in your life right now?
Yeah. Wow, that's a very, very good question. Yes, the question I'm trying to answer right now is how will these cards reach the mass? I want the exposure of these cards. As the creator, usually you see the big vision, but the challenge, there's a lot of challenges in between. And for those who don't know, I am an immigrant in Canada, so I don't really know the ways for a business to succeed. So there is research, there is all of that, but sometimes it's not enough. Even if you have marketing skills, you just want it to reach more people, So that's the question I'm trying to answer right now. And if anybody is listening to this podcast and you know ways, please reach out to me. I would love to.
Yes, absolutely. So for you, all of our people in marketing, resources, research, really reach out to our girl Raissa, let's help her to really, because these cards are amazing. I cannot recommend them enough, and I love them. I actually bought 2 of them, sent them back home as well. So they're really beautiful. Anyhow, I'm waiting for my question.
Yes. So your question is, I think it's a little bit more like the one you just asked me.
Oh my God.
Do you have a goal this year? Since the beginning of the year?
Oh my God. Yes, I do.
Tell me about it.
Okay, I have many goals. First of all, I call this year a 2023 divine settlement.
Wow.
Yes. And my mantra is that I am a burning and a shining light. So I feel like, I've worked so hard my entire life. I've been on a survival mode my entire life. And I feel like, this year I am inviting God to settle me in everything that I do. So because, the goals that I have right now are not different from the goals that I had in previous years, but I want them to really, as you mentioning, myself, with Beyond the Veil, my career journey of, becoming a therapist. I was telling you how, I'm actually in the process of applying to become a therapist qualifying. Or therapist qualifying until I complete my internship. So that's, career settlement. I want this year to be my beginning in actually practicing as a psychotherapist. I feel like, that's my biggest highlight for 2023. I'm looking forward for my graduation for my master's program. It's like, I have so many goals. But one thing is that this is a year I really I am open for God to settle me in every area of my life, physical, spiritually, mentally, financially, relationship. I really welcome that, divine grace upon my life and the people that I love, people in my life, my family. Yes.
Yes. Wow. That's great. But the question asked, do you have a goal this year? Write it down and hold each other accountable. So I already told you the way I answered my question. You should write it down, and then I'm going to write down what you just said. And then by the end of the year, I'm going to ask you where we are with these goals.
Okay? That's so beautiful.
The question is just to hold each other accountable. So
wow.
I have noted down what you said while you were talking. I hope you remembered what I said.
Absolutely. And as I write it down, even looking into any opportunity, sharing with you so you can achieve your goal as well. Anyhow, Thank you so much. So let's continue with our questions.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you, since we're going to discuss, emotions, for our listeners, stay with us. We're going to share skills. We're going to share so many things. Now we're starting the conversation about emotions. So, you're going to learn a thing or two, but stay with us. I'm going to ask you, what is the way, how can you define emotions in your own way?
Yes, I have my own way. It probably defies science or anything any scientist put there. I usually define emotions as energy in motions. That's my own way of defining it, because emotions rule us. They rule how we behave, how we act. But according to science, usually emotions are a state of mind that comes from mood, circumstances, and relationships.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. That's what I would define. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful way really to define that. I don't think I can add any bigger definition, because either way, emotions are how, individuals, how we deal with matters or situations that we find personally significant. So emotions have to be with, something going on, how we define that, personally. So yeah, that's even the way we respond to an event.
Yeah.
Our emotions are going to look different. Even if we are sad, angry, or happy, the way we express that is going to look different.
Yes.
Thank you. And one of the things I can add as well is that, emotions are real, but they're not fact. Because when we feel emotions, it feels like, oh, this is real. I feel this way. There's no other way. But at the same time, they're not facts, because they're always associated with an action. And, as we go through this conversation, we get to recognize that, learning how to manage them, it helps us to actually take actions on what's happening around us rather than focusing on the actual emotion. The other thing, emotions are information. Coming back to what you shared, they're signals. I like that. They're communicating something specifically. So let's move on to another discussion, If I may ask you, without, interpreting your feelings, did anybody ever ask you, how are you feeling? Because most of the time when you ask these questions, it's like, we're ready to explain or to come up with an understanding before somebody even responds.
Yeah.
So, but truly, did ever anybody ask you, how are you feeling when you were young in moment of stress? Like, when you were crying, things like that.
Yeah. So we come from a country, Rwanda, for those who don't know. And the way our community is, I don't think this is something that they worry about. The question asked when I was young. So the way they raise kids in my community is they raise them to be strong. It's like you're not even allowed to be sad. If you cry, they will look at you and be like, you shouldn't cry. be happy, smile, be strong. You can't be weak in front of people. So I don't think that's a question that anyone asks me. There could be a normal, how are you? And it's like you were raised to say, I'm fine. Whether you're fine or not, you have to say, I'm fine. Until something happens that's major, that's going to alert everybody. But like those other deep emotions, I don't think I heard that when I was young. And I grew up in a family, with a mom and dad. But most of our emotions would be like, it would be like a grief Olympics. So you would be sad about something and they'll be like, oh, you're crying? Have you seen this other one who don't even have a home?
Yes.
Why are you crying? This person they don't even have a place to sleep. They don't even have food and you're crying, that kind of thing. So that's how I grew up. And and that's probably why I even created these cards. Part of the question is, how are you? How are you is a general question, but then it adds up really. How are you really? And there it's an open question to say how you're feeling. Because as Lydia said, it's how are you feeling is the key question of helping someone describe their emotions.
Wow, that's I can relate to you in any way. I feel like the question from me I got when I was young was often, what's wrong with you?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like, many times I used that question to my kids until I started learning that it was actually the wrong question. What is wrong with you? And I am telling you, the minute you hear that, you just shut down. You
just shut down. You actually start to think something is wrong with you. So you don't focus on your emotions. You start to be like, okay, let me be right. Let me show that there's nothing wrong with me. So you basically suppress your emotions, which is not healthy.
Yeah. It's, having this conversation, I was inspired by this book. I think I shared that with you while we're preparing for this podcast. The book is called Permission to Feel. I cannot recommend this book enough for yourself, friends, family, relationship, especially. That's really a good book to help you understand how you manage your own emotions, master how, and actually people around you. And one of the quick question the author mentioned, by the way, it's by Professor Mark Brackett. He's a Yale University professor. He has done so much research and work around this topic about, the need to allow ourselves to actually feel. So one of the key questions he shared is that it's, the ability to ask someone, how are you feeling, without interpreting someone's feelings. And I was speaking with a friend of mine the other day, even a conversation around suicide has been happening in the community. There's a question we always say, like, let me know if you need anything, right? And when the people don't reach out, we always we try to tell them, but they never get back to us. I wasn't intentional including this question, but I'm going to ask you, when you guys, you're going through a tough time and you share with someone and they say, oh, let me know if you need anything. How do you feel about that question? Does it help you to ask for help? How do you take that?
Yes, that's a good question. For me personally, it depends about who is saying that. I am reading a book too. It's called Relational Intelligence. So it talks a lot about relationships in general, friendships, people in our life, basically. And I feel like part of what everyone communicates, for me, it depends about what is our relationship. And then again, what tone did you speak? Where did that come from? Like, did you just say that automatically just because it's a thing to say? Did you just say that because you were really listening to me and you really need to offer that help? So my response will be based on who you are to me or our relationship, and also the tone of your voice, and where it's coming from, pretty much. But how I respond to that, usually, I'll be happy that someone is offering that, because I feel like it's not everyone who just going to offer a listening ear or any sort of help. Yeah. So it's a good thing to say, I believe, but yeah, it's not always that I'm going to take it seriously. It's not all the time that I'm going to take it seriously.
I feel like for me, it's a confusing question or a way of offering help that is so confusing. Because for me, if you say, let me give you an example. Let's talk about, for example, someone who lost a job, going through a financial crisis. They've been down for a while. They can't clean their home. They can't get themselves to wake up. They're struggling in many ways. They have so many responsibilities. Can either be family, people take care of, and then they come to you. They share what's going on in their lives, and then you say, "Let me know if you need anything." For me, it's confusing in a way. I'm gonna be honest. If anyone ever messaged me like that, I never go back to them to ask for help. Because I'm like, it's important to be specific. That's why people don't open up. For example, if people tell you what they are going through, at least the response can be like, after listening to everything you're going through, I'm going to make sure that I will be praying for you every day. Because right now, this is what I can do. But when I can do more, I reach out as well. But I will be checking on you as much as I can. And this is not to offer a what is it? A
material thing, yeah,
a material thing, but be specific on how you can help, right? Be like, for example, what? I know that you have maybe, you don't have a job. You've been struggling to get a job. I will come your way and we maybe complete some resume. We work on a resume together and help you to submit it to different companies. Or it can even be like, what? Send me your resume and I will try to send it somewhere. It can be like, if it's possible, be like, what? I don't have much to support, but I will come over and bring you a bag of milk. You cannot, maybe not even say that, but be like, I will come over on Tuesday. I have something for you. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be brutal honest here. I love that, I told that friend of mine after she has done that, it was few months, in the journey of starting being a single mother, trying to put my finances together. I was struggling a lot. I'm going to tell you, this friend of mine showed up on my door because she knows I like, this, vegan milk, like oat milk and whatever. She showed up to my house with oat milk, just oat milk. You have no idea up to now. I keep that in my memory because at that particular moment, milk was on my list of things that I needed on that day. Yeah. So she didn't show up with, 100,000 of money. She didn't show up with, she didn't even message me. That's the funny part. I feel like, I told her months later, I feel like the Holy Spirit really sent you. She called me. She's like, I'm in your parking. And I went to say hi to her. She's like, I was in your neighborhood. And then I remembered that you like this milk. And then when I was doing my grocery, I thought about bringing this type of milk to you. I was like, God, this is so interesting. But I'm giving that example as a way that, for people to open up, it's important that we be intentional, not just using formulated questions. Oh, let me know if you need any. Oh, if I message you that I need $1 million, you're going to give me that? If you need anything. Yeah.
But again, as you said, that's true, but it comes back from how you communicated. Like if you started where you're talking to a friend and you're telling them like, oh, there's this shift in my life and I've been dealing with a lot. So you understand that it's like a broad thing. You're not specifying what you really need. And I tell you, let me know. That means I don't understand the whole concept of what you're going through. I see that you're struggling, but I'm offering help. You know what I mean? That's why I say it depends about that communication, right? But if you come and be like, man, with inflation, it's crazy. And me being a single mom, I can't even afford it. I don't even have time. You are clearly communicating your needs. So there, as the receiver of that information, then I'll know how to help. You know what I mean? But yeah, it always comes back to that, the whole concept of how how you communicated your needs.
That's where we're going to discuss more in sharing skills that we can use actually to express our needs and our emotions. It goes both ways, because people to help us, we're going to communicate, and people to be able to help, they're going to know in what ways they can help us, and which is sometimes uncomfortable and tough for people are struggling, but we're going to talk about that. So yes, we're going to continue. One key question we have to keep in mind is, how are you feeling? So, and give space for people to describe their feelings without trying to put words in their mouth or whatever. So, Raissa, can you walk me through a time you felt something inside you, but you lacked words to describe that feeling? For example, what did you wish someone has asked you in that moment?
Yes, that's a good question. I'm gonna start by this morning, actually. Me and Lydia had this podcast planned to be recorded yesterday. We didn't do it because we have a lot of things going on. But this morning, remember, I woke up and I felt it's like an unease feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but I was like, there's no way I'm gonna cancel, because I know I wanted to do this initially, but I also wanted to sleep because I slept late last night. Yeah. So I was struggling to be like, should I just cancel? Should I just do it? And in that moment, I was with a friend of mine in the house, and they looked at me. They're like, why are you up so early? Because we slept late last night.
Yes.
And I just couldn't explain. I'm like, because I was in my head, I was like, because I knew if I cancel, Lydia will be like, cool girl, we're gonna postpone. But I also felt like, no, I should get it done because it should be done, right? So in my mind, I'm struggling with that. And because I'm not communicating anything, I'm becoming frustrated. So usually when I wake up, the very first thing to do, depending on how I feel, I grab a glass of water or something. I couldn't. So I just sat there for like a good 5 minutes. And Lydia texted me, and I looked at the text, but I was like, I'm not going to reply right away. Sorry, I didn't know that. But I feel like in that moment, what I would have wished I don't think anyone could ask you the right questions, because I was asking myself the question. But I think if, as Lydia said, if she looked at me and be like, how are you feeling? Maybe I could have named the feeling. I didn't know if it was anxiousness. I didn't know if it was frustration. I didn't know. I just knew that there was an unease in that specific moment. And guess what I did? I was like, let me shower, get my shit together. Sorry, language.
No problem.
And then I'll see how I feel, and then I'll communicate my needs. And that's what I did. And guess what? I am in the best mood. For those didn't start this, we started by guided meditation. It put all those worries and frustration and unease away. Like right now, I'm super calm. So yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. That's really beautiful. I think actually I was reflecting, even reading this book, when you wake up, first thing is like, feeling something. And then the thoughts start coming in, oh, why am I feeling this? Oh, there's a podcast. Oh, there's all those things. Those are information and come with an emotions. Then we can either decide, do I cancel? Do I sleep? What do I do?
Yeah.
But, it's, it's interesting. I feel like, when, first of all, shout out to our, podcast, coordinator, Krista. This girl always come up with one of the beautiful questions, and without her support, I have no idea. I know she doesn't like the spotlight, but just there's at Beyond the Veil, we have an amazing team to be able to do this, and I'm always grateful for each one of our team members. Thank you so much. So again, I think for myself, I feel like I'm a queen of shutting down on my emotions. I am a queen. It's not good, but that's why, I continue to be on this journey, because I feel like, from the get-go, I shared this story with many randoms, losing my parent at 6 years old, losing many people, having to survive for many years. I feel like, knowing that there's no other support, you quickly learn. Trauma really teach you, girl, you have no time for this, to deal with this one. Close that door a little bit so you can deal with other things. So when I saw this question, I was like, oh my God, there's many times where I feel something inside of me. And for me, I know how to describe it, but I don't have the time for it. So, so I think personally, I always know what's going on, but my brain has been trained to automatically be like, girl, you better close that door. We'll come back later because we have so many things to take care of.
But do you come back later?
You know what? That's a good question. I'm going to share something really not easy. I remember around, let me see, maybe 2008. I was attending my home church, Restoration Church in Rwanda. And I remember going to meet my pastor. Many people know Apostle Joshua Massas.
Yes.
He was going through those sessions of deliverance prayer. And I like actually his motto. What he does is he makes you write down, everything you can remember as from the young age, writing in, steps 0 to 7, 8 to whatever. There's always a gap of 7 years. And one of the things I recognized was that it wasn't easy for me to cry. I would really, really, I can cry for little things, but to really cry and feel like, I'm really having that deep cry, it wasn't easy. I was like, I'm here so you can help me, so you can pray for me so I can cry. I would see people praying and crying. I can cry for like 2 to 5 seconds. I couldn't cry for a long time. And, for sure, when something is frustrating me, even right now, I can cry for like, 1 minute, 10 seconds, 5 minutes. But then for me to deep crying, I actually, as a grown-up person, I actually have to schedule a time to cry. It's like, I will feel things like, piling up, and I'll be like, I need a moment. Either I can do a solo retreat, or I can, book a time for myself away from my kids or anyone and have my space, take do either a bath, take a bath or whatever, relax my body, prepare my room and be like, I need my moment to really release. So I feel like that comes back to the idea of, maybe keeping things inside, not able to release them. So I wish when I see people who cries, like, if you know me, you will assume that I can get mad, I can get, upset, then maybe feel tears, but to really have a deep cry,
release them.
I can, it's like seasonal. And like, I can feel when it's coming. And actually when I have it, I am so grateful. So, yeah.
Wow. I can relate to that. I think me as a kid, I didn't used to cry because, I don't know, something was just telling me it's a weak thing to cry, so I would hold the tears inside and then I would go in my room and cry, but I wouldn't cry. Let's say my parents are punishing me or, someone told me something that's hurtful. I would never cry in public. I would make sure. And then I feel like as you're saying this, I realized that suppressing emotions or repressing emotions just cause further physical or psychological damage. I was this kid that was always stressed. Have you seen a stressed child?
Yeah.
You're a child, but I was always stressed. It's like even my responses to people would think I'm rebellious, but it's all those emotions built in that I'm not releasing. Now as an adult, if I'm honest, I don't think there's anything that I love like after I cry. I don't cry often, but after the feeling that I get after I cry, I feel like my soul is cleansed or something.
I know. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I feel like the best cries I ever heard was in my car.
mm-hmm.
My car really, I love those ones, especially, I think I remember well the time I lost my sister. I will
Mm-hmm.
just start on my car. I'll be driving for an hour or something to my
Mm-hmm.
work or school, and I would just put on like, gospel music and then start crying. The other best time was like in the therapy room. I feel like,
Oh,
it's safe there. You trust that your information are safe there. So those you're so right. It feels so good. It feels so relieving, and it's beautiful. Anyway, let's keep going.
yeah, we're not encouraging people to cry, but if you ever feel like crying, please give yourself that time and release.
Yes, absolutely. It's type of emotions, and it's part of our lives. The way
Mm-hmm.
we get so happy, life can bring us something that can, reasons why to cry. Like the other time I was about to drive my son to school, there was a storm, and I lost my keys in the snow, and I spent 40 minutes. I couldn't find them. So
Oh,
but just a moment like that, and you're like, what is going on? We never know when that moment will come, but if you can really be able to cry, don't ever really hold back.
don't hold back. Don't fight back the tears.
Yeah.
Just let them go down your cheeks. Yes.
Yes, we are closer to sharing some of the skills that we can use to manage our emotions. I want to ask you, Raissa, by using maybe a tool that works for you, how can
Mm.
someone master their emotions?
Yes, personally, I feel like in the morning when I wake up, this is an exercise I started, I think, in the pandemic because a
Mm-hmm.
lot was going on. When I wake up, that specific moment when I open my eyes, the very first thing to do, I just ask myself, how I'm feeling. Sometimes you wake up and you just feel lazy. Sometimes you wake up and something just happens and then you're angry. For us who live in the Western world, we don't have any sort of help. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to prepare breakfast. And at that specific moment, you feel stressed. So I'm learning how to basically know what I'm feeling in that specific moment. Because what I realized is that if I don't know how I'm feeling, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna affect the whole day. So let's say that example that I'm waking up and I'm like, Jesus, I'm hungry. I have to prepare breakfast. I don't have
Yes.
time to prepare breakfast because I have to start work at 8. And at that moment, my cortisol is the stress hormone.
Mm-hmm.
If they are up, trust me,
Mm-hmm.
even if I open my laptop to work, I'm already stressed. I don't care how easy or how light my workload is. I'm just gonna be stressed, So
Yes.
in that moment, if I feel stressed, the tool that I use,
Mm-hmm.
I do something that I like. I personally
Yes.
like music. So in that specific moment, I'm gonna put on my worship songs because in the
Mm-hmm.
morning I usually like relaxed songs, not like very loud.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in the shower with the worship songs in the background and that
Mm-hmm.
calms me down in a way,
Yes.
right? And some other days I wake up and I'm happy for no good reason. I just feel like,
Yes.
wow, it's so beautiful. It's sunny.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite mornings, but it doesn't happen every day. So
Mm-hmm.
I learn how to know how I'm feeling that
Mm-hmm.
moment that I wake up. I am trying
Yes.
so hard to avoid
Mm-hmm.
social media when I wake up because before I would wake up on my phone, like I would wake up
Mm-hmm.
and first
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm trying to grab my phone where it is. But I've
Mm-hmm.
realized that it just causes me, it's like it affects me in a way. Whatever I see on the internet, it could be a normal quote of something. It could be a news alert of something burning. I don't want to start my day like that. So I'm
Yes.
trying so hard. It's not easy because again, we
Mm-hmm.
wake up on notifications,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an exercise I've been practicing for at least 2 years to just grab my
Yes.
phone after I start my day, not just when I wake
Mm-hmm.
up or open my eyes. That's a
Mm-hmm.
tool that works for me. What
Yes.
works for me might not work for you because we all have
Yes.
different lives. But yeah, that's just how I roll. Yeah.
I like
How about
that.
you, Lydia? I would like to know
Girl,
what tool
I
you
feel
use.
like I'm always seasonal. It depends on the season and what's going on. I feel like, tools that I use in summer, it's not what I use in winter. Cause in summer, I'm out every day. Before I start working, I'm going on a walk. I I just go on a walk, 30 minutes, and then come back to work. By winter, I look outside. I'm like, we are not getting out right now. But, personally,
That's true.
one thing I've learned, the cold shower, the Canadian cold shower. If you do not live in areas where, you can have a very cold winter, you're not going to understand what I mean when I say a cold shower. That means don't mix even 0% of warm water. It's freezing. When you're taking that shower, it's like you have to learn actually how to breathe in and out. Because as you breathe, it keeps your body warm, and then you are able to tolerate the pressure of the cold. So, yeah, that one is good for your immune system. It's actually to increase your dopamine. So it actually increase your dopamine on a high level. It's like, because for me, coffee do not work for me. My body does no. When I drink coffee, I go to sleep right away. I didn't know that. I remember.
You're a psychopath. Maybe that's the total opposite of what it does to people. It makes you fall asleep.
Actually, thank God for the science of psychology. I actually learned that there's another bigger community of people like me, because the coffee will do the opposite what we're supposed to be for people like me. So I don't know, I don't know how to explain the science behind it, but there are people like that. When you use coffee, it will actually do the opposite action. And I will go, the espresso, right? The espresso.
Yeah.
That short. I am telling you, I will go and buy two of them. Because I have this assignment from school. I'm like, tonight I'm not going to sleep. And I will drink 1, 2. The next 5 minutes, I open the laptop and I'm sleeping. I'm like,
oh my God.
Going on. And then I remember, I actually took a lot of them. At the point I was so anxious, I went to this organic store in my neighborhood. I told the person, I'm feeling this way and this way. Do you have any supplement, anything? I don't know what's going on. And then she's like, girl, have you been taking coffee? And I'm like, yes. And then she's like, I know what's going on. She started explaining to me sometimes the coffee doesn't work the same way to many people. And actually she gave me this supplement. After 1 or 2 days, I felt so good. And I actually started testing it. Try to drink coffee after 30 minutes. I feel anxious. I would feel like, what is going on? So then I really accepted that coffee does not work for me. For me, cold shower do wonders. Wow. If I wake up feeling like, know myself, especially I'm a busy person, my school, especially, when I used to go to school every morning and work, driving hours, I would take a very cold shower, and it's actually like reboosting something. The energy there is beyond, because warm water are good for relaxing your muscles and all of that, but cold water is actually energy. It's so good. It's so good. Even people who work out, let's not talk about it a lot. So that's one of my secret. The other one is scripture, meditation, and prayer. What I do, as you're saying, me too. I wake up running. I always tell people, when people are writing on social media, when I wake up, I meditate, or I have 3 kids in school, so most of the time I wake up like, oh my God, is it time? Breakfast, preparing for school, and then the next minute I'm on my desk working. What I do before I start even completing one task from work, this is what works for me. I have to do a meditation. When I say meditation, it's spiritual. So it's scripture. I read the scripture and pray, ground myself. I can even do a it can be a non-religious meditation. There's so many out there, because I'm like, the day in front of me is going to be heavy. Let me prepare myself. The other thing that works when I get a chance, working out is good, or take a walk, stretching your body. There's, for me, it's always about the season, because we have also to be honest. The way we treat our body is different. Yes. Summertime, there's the sun. The sun is the energy of the earth. There is a reason why everybody has the energy. In the cold season, they call it, the depression season. because we are away from the sun. It's so hard. So we have to fight so hard, recognize what you eat, changing actually even what we eat, it's something like that. Yeah.
Wow. So I'll try cold showers.
Girl, they are something, and they're
hopefully they work for me.
Yeah, it's good for actually even the science behind it. Really? Unless you have health issues when you're listening to this, please don't just use it if you have health issues. Asthma. Always, if you ever want to check with your doctor or anyone, always do this. Anything we recommend here, it's from our own perspective. It's not something we can recommend professionally. It is what works for us. Always, make sure if you can speak to a professional, because they can, even when you have that chance, as you talk to professionals, you can even figure out what works for your body. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go to the last step that we're going to discuss, a modality that I think many people can use it. Really, you can use it for yourself. You can use it for your child, people around you. And the idea of it is to help yourself to manage your emotions or people around you. So it's called the emotion ruler skills. Emotion ruler skills. So this modality, help us to manage our emotions or people around us. It was created by Professor Mark Brackett. This is one way to give yourself the permission to feel. Because we discussed with Raissa, at the young age, we learned that feeling is bad, feeling is wrong. Yeah. Because the message was always like, what is wrong with you? When I cry, what is wrong with you? When our kids get angry, what is wrong with you? Then they become adults who are afraid to express their emotions. So, this is something that can give you the power to unlock your emotions. Yeah. And, it's called ruler skills. So it's going to have 5 steps. We are going to discuss all of them. So ruler, so one step is, we're going to talk 5 steps one by one. The first step is recognizing your emotion. Raissa, can you give me an example of ways that you can recognize an emotion when it happens?
Yeah, like what I said in the morning when you wake up, you try to be like, how am I feeling today? Right? So if you're feeling happy, you're recognizing that you're happy. And you can go on. If you're feeling stressed, you can recognize that you're stressed. Lydia will tell us what to do after you recognize your emotion.
Yeah. So one thing is that this step, it's actually a non-verbal, it's a step that communicates a non-verbal information. It's not about I feel happy. It's about the first step to recognize, how am I feeling? Do you remember when you said, I woke up and I felt a strange feeling? It's like you're feeling something, but you don't know exactly what is going on. But you are feeling something. Before you describe that, you are feeling something and that emotion is valid, but you don't know yet what is it, right? So one of the way this particular steps, the first step is, a non-verbal information. What we have to do, we just have to be sensitive to the sensation and nuances of emotions of others. So it's like, be sensitive. I am feeling something. Or it looks like my partner, when I look at their face, it looks like they're feeling something. Like this morning, I was speaking to 2 ladies and I was focusing on one. I look on the side, the other one, and I could tell on her face that there was a strong emotion that she was trying to communicate.
Yeah.
So here it's like a sensation you're going to feel. It can be a happy, a sad, strange, whatever, anxious, or joyful, but you feel something. So the first step is recognizing an emotion. There is a sensation and nuances over emotions or others. So the second step is understanding the emotion. So, Raissa, you say that, yes, you feel something. Then the second step is understanding that emotion. So before I continue, on the first step, when we are feeling something, sensing something, you say the question is, how am I feeling? Or asking someone, how are you feeling? So this is why it gets complicated, because the minute we ask people, we ask ourselves, most of us jump right away after that question, how can we fix this? And imagine before we fix that, there is 3 steps in the middle. And often many people don't want to go through that because it's uncomfortable, it's taking too longer. How can we fix this? But the second one is understanding that emotion, understanding emotion. So there's recognizing emotion. Second is understanding emotion. So in understanding is actually how and why. This is where we're going to be. How am I feeling this way? Why do I feel this way? What is the underlying reason for this feeling? What is causing this? Like when you wake up, you're like, what's going on? I went to sleep late. I'm tired. Do I cancel this? What is happening around that emotion? See, you were saying, I'm tired. Do I cancel this? What is happening? It's like you trying to understand and navigate that, right?
Yeah.
So before was, how are you feeling? And then is, how am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? So then you're going to start responding, you can either use a pen and paper, trying to write down, yourself. It was like, all the things you have to do today, you feel like you didn't want to do because you're tired. The other person can be like, oh my God, I have 20,000 tasks. I have an appointment. I have all these things. And then the moment you wake up, feel like, I have no energy to do this. Why am I feeling this way? It's connecting to all the information around that feeling. So we move from recognizing the emotion, how are you feeling? Sensing. Second, understanding the emotion, why and how, what's happening around me. And then the third step is labeling the emotion.
Yeah.
So, Raissa, how do you, understanding by those 2 steps, how would you label an emotion that was dominating your morning? It's like naming that emotion.
Yeah. If I label it, it was tiredness because I wanted to sleep a little bit more. And it was, I've been fighting procrastination. It's a goal of mine. And it was more of, if I get to sleep again, then that means I'm going to procrastinate, which I shouldn't do. So, for the most part, it was tiredness and
guiltness that you might be procrastinating.
The guilt.
Instead of honoring that your body is tired, then you move from I'm tired to, oh girl, here we go again, you're procrastinating. So, naming that tired, it can be I'm tired, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm failing again. I'm procrastinating. And all of that, and it can be like, it can even bring a feeling of, feeling disappointed in yourself and all of that. So, this, while doing his research, Professor Brackett, this experimental thing, he asked people, how are they feeling today, right? He asked them that question. It was a group of many people, and most of them were like, I'm fine, I'm good, and all of that. And then he asked them, can you describe to me the taste of the wine that you like? Guess what? The description was amazing, longer, right? It can be like, rich spice and mineral accent. You hear that? Describing a wine. Bold, supple flavors of apricot and whatever. So you see how, he was saying people are quickly able to name, describe well the food than their emotions. So naming our emotion really, we move from, I recognize that I'm sensing, feeling something. I understand that there are things happening that are impacting me, like all the tasks, all the responsibilities, heaviness of the day. But then, can I name what's happening? I'm sad, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm procrastinating, I'm failing, all of that. Most of the time, that's why when we ask people, how are you feeling? They say, I'm fine, because, the idea of slowing down, recognize, understand, and be able to label the emotion, we don't want to do it. We don't want to deal with that because we don't take emotion part as so important as other areas of our lives.
Yeah.
So the next step is, expressing our emotions. This one can be really challenging. This one, for example, the way
you express it.
Yes, it's always depend. The difficult part to be able to express your emotions, it has to do with your past experience. That's why when people ask us how are we feeling, it's not safe enough for us to open up or to label the emotion because maybe past trauma, past disappointment, all of that, we like, how can I trust this person to share? Then we respond quickly, I am fine.
Yeah.
So in expressing our emotion, it's like, going like, it's actually when we make a decision of what we're going to do with this emotion. I've recognized the emotion. Maybe I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Or no, I recognize sensing. I sense that I'm not okay in me. Understand the emotion. I'm not okay because I received the bad news. Label the emotion. I'm actually afraid. How do I express this? If I tell people that I'm expressed, who do I have close to me? Oh my God, these are my kids. I can't even tell them. Oh my God, I can't tell my partner. I don't want them to feel to worry about me. So, Dr. Brackett shared that, this specific part of expressing is when we decide what we can do with the emotion, and it's actually terrifying. And the inability to share depends on our past experience. This is why here sometimes we recommend when it's not easy for you, maybe that can be the time to talk with someone that you can trust. It can be professional or non-professional to help you walk through of why it's so uncomfortable for you to express that. Because sometimes it's not safe enough. This is actually the step where people block because they can decide or not to share the emotion. So when we are able to walk through that and ready to share, this is where I can come to Raissa or somebody else and be like, you know what? Here's what I feel and why. And it can, when it's safe enough, it can be, here's what I need help with you. Going back to that question, let me know how I can help you. When we are comfortable, we are able to express that. That's where I can come to you. You know what Raissa, the other time you said, when I need something, I can come to you. This is what I need help with. And it can be like, this is what I need from you. This can be, for example, relationship-wise. If someone is not doing something, you're able to compromise with and have the be bold to say, actually, this is what I need from you. Or if you may be trying to set boundaries, here you are demanding with confidence. But at the same time, again, this particular step of expressing our emotion depends on our past experience. And this is where we can do the work to discover what usually makes me not confident. to share or open up when people are able to help me.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Those are good insights.
Okay, going to the last one, the last one, that's when, we're about to recognize sensation, either, I feel like something is happening, I sense something, second, I understand, then I label the emotion, then express my emotion, then last one is regulating our emotion. That means we try, how can I manage my emotion? This is, here we come up with strategies, what can I do in similar situation? What life can be without the power to regulate my emotion? It's, this is a complex skill. That's why we said, figure out what works for you. We can share things like, guided meditation, speaking to a therapist, maybe talk to even your family member. Even an example of these cards, they play to flourish. Sometimes it can help you to open up. I remember when I was playing with these cards with some of young kids, I shared with Raissa. I was observing this one kid who's been expressing the emotions of, anger in a way. For a while, I was trying to talk to that child. What's going on? But with these cards, actually, he was able, they were able to express some of the disappointment they have experienced in the past few weeks. So, this is where regulating is like, I don't want this to have the power on me. What can I do with this emotion? What am I going to do to manage this? So for some, it's going to be meditation, prayer, workout, talk about it. We have to release that. We have to manage that to be able to feel like ourselves. Raissa, any comment with these skills?
No, I'm happy to hear that because I think I was doing some of it automatically, but I didn't know that knowing this process is probably going to help me in the future because it's very well explained and elaborated in a way that I needed to know. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, even myself, honestly, I'm always direct to, I'm sensing something. Oh, how do we get out of here? That's always my response. The minute I sense something, I'm, oh, girl, how do we get out of here? But now I've started to be like, I sense something. Okay, Lydia, stay here, sit down. I want you to stay here, sit down a little. It's going to be uncomfortable, but allow yourself to feel it so you can understand what's going on. Even the idea of the meditation actually is to help you have clarity, right? Of what's clarity of what's going on. Sometimes we're rushing straight and we don't know how to put things in order. But with meditation, it helps us, oh girl, slow down. You were feeling this way. You know what? Maybe we can try the other way. So yeah, I'm really grateful as well there are many skills out there, but I found this to be much a little bit easier. Just to recognize that when I sense something, the next step to do is not to shut it down. Yeah. It's okay to even find a space to say for you and be like, let me allow myself to feel this. I have the right to feel. Yes.
Yeah, you have the right to feel.
Girl, I think we are so done. For our listeners, they can send us questions. Let us know what you feel about this episode if you have questions. And I'm going to invite Raissa to speak to our audience. If you have anything you want to share, encouragement or ways to reach actually out to your services, let us know. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I feel like I was in a session where I was being inspired while I was also the guest on this podcast. So one thing I can share, I think right now I am going back to your first question when we started with this podcast. You asked me, who are you professionally? And I feel like right now, what I can tell people, what I can share is I am the type of person who always have a to-do list, right? So I've always thought it's the way to organize my life and it's a good thing, but like, I feel like doing a lot of it is being more harmful than, than helping me, because we are human beings. We are not human doings. So the very first thing to do is to be, okay? Is to be. I'm not saying be lazy and don't do anything, but just be before you do, okay? So it's good, from everything that we shared, it's good to know how to be. And part of how to be is how to feel, right? In my podcast, I share a lot about, as I said, emotional health. And if we don't feel, it leads to what I call emotional wounds. And if you have an emotional wound, it's good to clean it. I call it emotional hygiene. The same way you know that you have to shower every day is the same way you have to do an emotional hygiene, which we're going to use this process that Lydia just mentioned of expressing emotion, regulating, understanding them, labeling them, expressing them, and regulating them. We can go in length about this, but we're running out of time. That can be another episode maybe next time. But yes, remember that you are a human being, not a human doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I can share. Yeah. And where to find me? My podcast is called Flourish with Ray Love, but I'm also very, very active on Instagram. You can DM me. You can share anything on Flourish 1.0.
Nice.
For those who don't know how to write it, you can spell like FLOURISH 1.0. And yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Raissa. It was great having this conversation with you. We are always learning, and send us your feedback, things we can do better, conversation you would like to listen from Gen 365. Thank you so much. We wish you a happy end of the month.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year as well. We'll catch up in February first week with new episodes. As you know, we always go with 3 episodes a month. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you, Raissa.
Thank you, Lydia.
Bye. That's it for the week. We hope you gathered your dose of resilience for the week ahead. Follow Gen 365 podcast to know when the next episode comes up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or Google Podcasts. Share with your friends, community, and family, and do not also forget to follow and share feedback or questions on our community organization social media at Beyond the Veil Mission on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Or learn more about our work via our website at www.beyondtheveilmission.com. In the spirit of building resourceful, stronger communities, we can also help your community or business or organization to share your news and event on our podcast. Please email us for collaboration at podcastgen365@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.